Hi, Wycliffe Barrett Explained Dedicated here. Just before we get started on this week's vlog, I need to say a few words as to why I've been missing. I'll see you right after the intro.
Dublin, November 180 Bravo Bravo with it. November 180 Bravo Bravo, good afternoon to you. Report your altitude? 2,000 feet.
Okay, well, the reason why I've been missing for the last 2 weeks or 3 since Cosford is quite simply the fact that my PC and X-Plane 11 installation was in a mess. In fact, my Windows 10 installation was in a real mess. It took a friend of mine to help me get rid of Windows 10 and put it onto SSD drive. I thought I'd saved everything, all my assets, all my documents and pictures. I hadn't, and so therefore I've had to hunt around for my intro again and redo that, and also download my editing software and my screen capture software, and it's been a real nightmare. But finally, after a couple of weeks, I think I'm back to normal. X-Plane 11 is running really well, and Windows 10 is no longer rebooting itself, which it was doing. So we're back to normal. Let's get on with it with this week's vlog. See you in a moment. Okay guys, here we are. We are in the Mudry A10C. Now this is a strange looking little aircraft, but it's absolutely beautiful. Now this is supposed to be an aerobatic aircraft, and I have to tell you that yesterday when I first got it and I tried to do some aerobatics, I was absolutely useless. But let me first of all, whilst looking at the external view, let me go through some of the stuff that's on it, okay? This aircraft has been incredibly well modelled in such detail that really what I really need to do is just go through the press release, so bear with me please. The Mudry A10C is the ultimate evolution of the famous two-seat aerobatics airplane for both competition and training. It is certificated for aerobatics and utility categories. Most Western European aero clubs use it for aerobatics instruction and sports competitions. The Army uses it to fly it for fighter pilot training. This project can be summarised in 2 words: high fidelity. I have to agree with that. It is extremely high fidelity. Let's have a look inside whilst I carry on talking. The flight model is being step-by-step controlled by our first test pilot, Thomas, a French aerobatics champion who flies the A10C, Foxtrot Golf November Charlie Victor, in competitions. As an enthusiast partner, he has managed the project from birth to publication and written just for us aerobatics lessons, which is in the attached documentation. Each piece of the flight model has been studied to reach the most accurate flights we have ever experienced on the sim. For the most difficult parts, we were lucky to get help from Josh, a physicist who is passionate about aeronautics and occasionally a A10C pilot himself. Golf Charlie Papa X-Ray Charlie. So you can see there's an awful lot of technical expertise has gone into making this aircraft, and the interior modelling, well, it's very, very nice. A little bit flat maybe on that front panel there, but then again, that is possibly exactly what it's like in the real world. In fact, I'm pretty sure it is exactly like that. I had a bit of trouble starting it up myself, but then again, I haven't read the manual or anything, so therefore that's no surprise. As you can see, the reflections on the canopy are really, really something quite special. And if you click that, then you slide back the canopy, you can hear the engine, you can lean out the side of the aircraft, feel the prop wash, which is really quite nice. It's actually a really nice model. Some really nice details on this, but there's still more for me to tell you. The model is a numeric copy of Foxtrot Hotel Echo Bravo Victor, owned by the Aero Club of May, the Avia 71's home, and the Mudry's historical place. We had a lot of fun flying it in real life every time we needed to adjust a detail of our work. So big ups to all our friends at the club. Of course, we spent a lot of attention to design, physical based rendering, FMOD sounds, 4K texturing, complex animations. Nothing is ever enough for the beauty bird. We guess you got it. Passion was the 180 horsepower engine of this project. Be aware that this product is not designed for arcade simmers. Unlike other aerobatics aircraft available for simulators, this plane will not forgive you unrealistic flights. On the other hand, it is a great material for real aerobatics to discovery or training and to enhance your skills, whether you are a beginner or a confirmed pilot. And don't forget that the A10C is used to travel too. She's a docile horse as long as you do not tease her. Right, having said all that, let's try and get this bird in the air. When he says it's not a docile horse, I have to agree, because yesterday when I flew this, I was petrified. It is really, really twitchy. Exceedingly so. Okay, so we're going to get it in the air, so release the brake, a bit of flap, and now you will have noticed I am at a different airfield. I've got a lot of right rudder here, so there's plenty of torque on this engine. I've got about half right rudder. There we go. Just a little bit longer, I think. Alright, let's pull that stick back, and we're airborne. Now, as you can see, this is the second part of the review, which I'm going to talk about in a few moments' time, but we're at Chicago Meigs Airfield, which has been reproduced by Aerobatic Simulation. So I'll talk about that in a little while. But first, let's have a look at this aircraft. Now, I'm hardly inputting anything on the rudder. Let's get the flaps up, and as you see, the nose dips, so we need a little bit of trim. There we go. Oops, it is incredibly twitchy. It really, really is. I haven't set any views up on X cameras, so I'm going to do everything externally. We'll see what this looks like as we turn around over the city. He says gingerly, trying to get an external view going. Here we go. It's a nice little aircraft. It flies really well. He said it was docile. It is, but it will also do some really clever stuff. So now, apparently, there's all sorts of documentation available, but not only that, also there is some clever tricks to it as well. So let me just kind of get out of the middle of Chicago town, which was not my intention. Can we do knife edge? Yeah, I suppose we can. Whoops, I need to get... There's a climb warning. Stall warning as well that you heard. Okay, so let's see if I can get into some docile flight. I tell you something, it climbs fast. Now over here we've got this little tab. Pull that out and you've got settings, checklist, weight and balance, failures, tips and tricks. So let's have a look. Well, there's your settings. You can change it from an aerobatics aircraft to a utility aircraft. So I've done that. The rear fuel tank is now empty as required. The electronic accelerometer is active, but instead, category limitations are applied, right? So, can I get in between here? Yeah, I can. Also, we can change the navigation instruments. Ooh, there's the twitchiness. There's the twitchiness. Ooh, I nearly lost it. That was... No, what was that about? Huh? That was crazy. See, it's supposed to be an aerobatics aircraft, but if you mess it up, you mess it up. I'm not even going to be able to get that back to level flight and glide, I don't think. We're just going down. So, shall we start a new flight? Yeah, I think we should. Whew, that is weird. Right, start a new flight, and I'll be back in a moment. Okay, here we are, we're going down the runway, and just getting up to speed. Now, you do really need to get some speed going, even though I've got flaps up. Otherwise, this aircraft, you have to really pull it off the deck. So get that airspeed up, and then it just comes up nice and easy, as you can see here. Now, it is an aerobatic aircraft, as we just saw from that incident, and if you get it wrong, it will bite you in the bum. Now, clearly I got it wrong. I think I did a tip stall or something. Did I hit the building? I can't remember now. I'll have to go back and review that part of the video. I will tell you now, this is about the 4th time that I've done this little piece here, because the volume on this aircraft is so loud, even though I've got it quiet and I can barely hear it in my headset. I'm pretty sure that when I go to an external view, it'll be incredibly loud again, and it's been drowning out my voice over the mic. Anyway, I think I've got it sorted out this time. For the 4th time's the charm. So I've just taken off flaps. I'm just going to trim it out a little bit, nose down a little bit on the trim, and yeah, I think that's about it. So we'll use some throttle control now. Just flying through Chicago here. Mind these buildings. They're solid. Clearly some of them are solid, so you can land on them with helicopters and what have you, which is it's good to see actually, although it can be a little bit hairy, especially if you're flying through here. Some of these buildings are quite tall. So I want to have a look at the Chicago football stadium there, which is just located down here somewhere, if I recall. Yeah, it's over there in the mist, almost next to the runway. So I tell you what we'll do, we'll fly down there, go around the stadium, and then come into land. So I mean, this scenery is absolutely beautiful. A lot of people have been complaining, or should I say, new users and people who transfer over from the other simulator. They come into X-Plane 11 and they moan about the haze. They say, oh, it's not real, it's not real. It is in actual fact very, very real. For those of you who've been flown in real life, it may be a clear day down at ground level, but you only need to get a couple of 100 feet above ground level, or sea level should I say, and that haze starts to come in. I've flown in the UK. In the UK we rarely have, even in the middle of summer, we rarely have clear days where you can see 20 miles. You're lucky if you can see between 8 and 10 miles once you get up into that haze. And I think this is just perfect. Now this is the weather that I've got on here is Cavoc, so you know, this is VFR weather, but you know, as long as you can see the ground, see where you are, then you're okay. Right, I missed the stadium because I was chatting, so just to the right of the airfield, so I'm going to turn around. I'm not going to do too sharp a turn because I don't want to get past that rate one turn, and we'll have a look at the football stadium. There it is, just underneath my wing. Fortunately, there's some trees growing in there, so maybe it's time to get wet out and put an exclusion zone around that, so we can get rid of those trees. But that's really nice. They're doing a good job there. So the airfield, Meigs Airfield, which is done by Aerobridge. So I was just kind of on 2/3 throttle there, and you know, really lost altitude without trying, which is quite good. And it's got a fantastic climb rate, as you can see there. As you climb away, ready for our approach to Meigs Airfield. So let's just check where it is. There it is, and I'll come around now in a moment. There we go. Dropping down to the airfield. I'll get some flap on. There we are, bit of flap. Oh, I've turned too far, but that's okay. I've got plenty of space here. Once you get used to how you handle this, and if you're going to cruise around in it, then you do it gently. If you're going to get into your aerobatics, then I suggest you read the manual, because there's lots to learn about the aerobatics aspect of flying this aircraft. So just coming towards the field now. Once again, those reflections are really looking good in my view. I like those. Some people might think they're overdone, but I think it looks really quite good. $24.95. You can get it from xplane.org. If you want a nice GA aircraft with a little bit of something else extra to it, then this is the one for you. If you're into aerobatics, then maybe you want to try this and get this in X-Plane. As you can imagine, with all the dynamics and everything in X-Plane, this is going to be a real treat. Just coming in over the airport now, looking for the numbers. There they are. That's what I'm aiming for. Throttle off, idle throttle a little bit, and just let it gently settle to the runway. There we go. Not bad at all. Tail draggers are always a bit of a nuisance because they stay on their two wheels for a long time. You've got to be very, very careful with the brakes, and also don't forget this is differential braking. I'm just waiting for the tail wheel to go down. I think, can I apply a little bit of brake? Yes, and there's the tail wheel, it's down. Whoops, you've got to be careful with those differential braking, because it can nearly tip you over. Whew. Right, I'm just on rudder now, I'm not using any braking at all. Oh my goodness gracious me, you've got to be so careful with those brakes. Maybe you can adjust, maybe we can adjust them a little bit so they're not as vicious. Maybe take some of the sensitivity out of them. Oh well, there we go. Meigs Airfield and the Mudry A10C. Don't forget the Mudry is available from xplane.org, and Meigs Airfield is available from Aerobridge. I'll put all the links in the bottom below. It's great being back. Hope you've enjoyed the video. This is Wycliffe Barrett, X-Plane Dedicated, and we'll see you soon. Cheerio.